you apologise to Jewish Australians because you and your government did not listen.
A day after a parliamentary day of condolences for the 15 victims of the Bondi massacre, and just 2 days before a day of national mourning, Tuesday's parliamentary question time has to have been one of the most unedifying displays on record. Both sides of politics demonstrated a lack of leadership and a lack of gravitas and a complete avoidance of serious address of what is happening in Australia today. The Prime Minister, once again, after just saying that he took responsibility for what was happening in Australia, immediately started with a calculated and premeditated attack.
The idea that anti-Semitism began with the election of the government in 2022 is just not right. 2018 saw a 59% increase over the previous year in total anti-Semitic incidents in Australia involving threats or acts of violence.
The Prime Minister came equipped with the quotes from Josh Frydenberg from 2019 on anti-Semitism when Scott Morrison was Prime Minister.
Josh Frydenberg, the then Treasurer, said on 10th of May 2019, anti-Semitism is on the rise here in Australia and the number of incidents has increased quite dramatically.
This was a calculated attempt to try and shift the blame and responsibility and deflect criticism from Scott Morrison and Josh Frydenberg for not calling a royal commission and for not having done enough about anti-Semitism since the October 7, 2023 attacks in Israel. The Prime Minister went back to the politicisation of the issue, of weaponising the attack on the opposition, claiming Susan Lee was making things up and that she hadn't acted sensibly or in the interests of national security. The Prime Minister also relived and retold his narrative about how he hadn't really ruled out a Royal Commission and given a whole list of reasons for not calling a Royal Commission, but instead he'd been acting in an orderly fashion. It was a completely concentrated attack to deflect blame from the government. But Susan Lee was not exempt from this unedifying spectacle. As Leader of the Opposition, Susan Lee sought to embarrass the Prime Minister personally, forcing him to try and apologise to Jewish Australians for his delay in calling a Royal Commission and not recalling Parliament earlier. But this, instead of trying to seek reassurances from the government of what was being done to counter terrorism and try and prevent another Bondi massacre, all she could do was try to embarrass the Prime Minister into apologising. Now, he, of course, isn't shifting. He's not apologising. He's saying he's sorry for the grief of Jewish Australians, and then, of course, saying his government had a whole range of things that they have done, including expelling the Iranian ambassador, which was all designed to combat anti-Semitism. But it was all toing and froing. Politicisation, a day after a condolence motion and 2 days before a day of national mourning. The Australian political leadership stands condemned for its response in the question time in Parliament on Tuesday.